Welcome back to the Golden Storyteller. This is your host Rex, and we're going to revisit in today's episode another story from Golden. For those who grew up in the Golden area around there or visited Golden, you may be familiar with what was the Heritage Square Opera House. Little details behind the Heritage Square Opera House. It was originally opened in 1971 by William Oakley, and this was one of the first businesses at Heritage Square. Heritage Square had a rich history of being a destination, somewhat mini Magic Park. It was actually opened originally as Magic Mountain, and it had a rich and illustrious history of amusement park rides and additional shops and restaurants that accompany it. Later on, in about 1981, the Alpine Slide was added to the park too. But today I'm going to talk about Heritage Square Opera House in particular. These are the books of matches. Man, these bring back memories. The Heritage Square Opera House was, kind of a fun, playful opera house style of theater. And the restaurant, your package dinner that you bought was a dinner and show package. And so upstairs in the opera house, it was a two-story building. It housed the restaurant portion, and the food was kind of marginal, to be honest with you. If I'm looking back, it was line cooked food, so it would have an assortment of vegetables and usually fried chicken and roast beef and just a few choices there. But it was line food. Now, my first experience at Heritage Square Opera House was I got a job there because my friend Rich Roloff, who's since passed on, got a job there. And Rich started off as a busboy and dishwasher. So I followed Rich there and got a job at the Heritage Square Opera House. And my first job was a dishwasher. And it was kind of a dishwashing job. That's exactly what it was. I had dishwashing experience at the Holland House before it was remodeled, and we'll have a story someday about the Holland House in Golden. And I started there as a dishwasher, then moved up to a busser, and then eventually to a line cook. But the funniest story I have, and there were many, many, many fun stories, but the funniest story I had was when I was a dishwasher and I was taking out the trash. Now, the Opera House kitchen and restaurant were located on the second floor. And the trash cans would come back from the bus tubs. They would be full of food, scraps, water, drink, you name it. People were not very good about dumping the liquids out. They would just dump them into these trash cans. They were the 40-gallon trash cans and lined with a liner. So it was our job as a dishwasher to empty that trash out. And because the kitchen was on the second floor, we had to take the trash cans down, and they had an elevator. So it was a dumbwaiter, that would haul the trash cans down. And then when supplies were brought in, they would haul the supplies up, so the food supplies. So one night, it was late, end of the shift. You normally emptied the trash about twice a night on the shift because people came for dinner, and then the dinner was cleaned up. Once dinner was done, then they would move down to the theater for the show. So at the end of the shift, people had all moved downstairs. I was taking the trash out. So I put the big trash can, and they were heavy. I mean, you lift them up. It took everything. And I was a pretty strong kid from all the work that I had done, working out and stuff. And I was in high school. I was 16. So I loaded the trash cans in the dumbwaiter and sent them down. Well, I went on down to down the stairs. And you walk down and out the stairs, and there was a dock, a small dock. It was not much more than about 4 by 8, where the elevator, the dumbwaiter, opened up to. So I opened the door and grabbed the trash can, and I was taking a look at this and the situation. So I leaned over and opened up the dumpster. Now, these are the roll-off dumpsters, the ones you see behind most businesses days. They weren't it wasn't roll-off. It was just a dumpster with 4 wheels on it and the 2 big lids. So the process, you'd always just open the lids, and then you just basically dump the trash can in and try not to let the can go in because you're doing it from above the cans. The dock level was the same height as the top of the trash cans. So I basically dump the trash can in, and then over my shoulder, back towards the door, I hear a growl. And I stop and I look, and I couldn't believe it, but there was a fully grown mountain lion sitting on its haunches, its front feet up, looking at me, and here the mountain lion is in between me and the door back into the Opera House. And unfortunately, that night, I had put my car keys in the employee locker room in my locker, so I didn't even have them in my pocket. So I couldn't escape to get to my car, which was parked about 40 yards away, and I couldn't get back into the Opera House because the mountain lion was in between myself and the door. So I was in a panic mode. I had never come face to face that close at that age yet, and I had seen mountain lions later on in life, but I'd never seen one that close because he was no more than about 35, 40 feet away. And I started to panic. I didn't know what to do. And I was trying to think, oh my goodness, is he going to come after me? Now I know it, looking back, the mountain lion just wanted to get some of the food scraps because there's quite a bit of meat and chicken bones and what have you, and leftover food from the dinner. But I was thinking, no, I'm the dinner. So I'm in a panic mode, and I saw no other way. So I quickly jumped into the dumpster and pulled the lid down over the top of me, and it slammed closed. And I thought, well, I would hide in the dumpster as long as it took for the mountain lion to go away. So I sat there screaming, hoping that someone would find me. And the mountain lion came up to the edge of the trash can. And I could tell, based on what the mountain lion was trying to do, it was trying to open the lid. So apparently this had been his, trough before. He'd come here and gotten food, and he or she, I'm not sure, it was still the mountain lion, and did this. So there was a crack in between the tops, the lids. So I stuck my hands up and was holding the lids down so he couldn't open them, so he couldn't push them open. So I sat there, and I don't know how long it was, to be honest with you, looking back. It seemed like it was forever. But I was kicking the side of the trash can, trying to make noise, and then trying to keep the lids down. So after my fury of sitting there in the dumpster with soaking wet with all the food scraps and leftover sodas and everything else that was in the trash can, finally I didn't hear anything from the mountain lion. So I creeped the lid open to look, and I couldn't see him anywhere. I looked towards the door, I looked towards the parking lot. So I pushed the lid back up and leaned it against the building and climbed out of the dumpster and pretty much sprinted to the back door. Well, I don't know how long I'd been gone, but the manager had been looking for me. Now, it was quite frequent other employees would go for a smoke break and sort of disappear. Or at the end of the night, when it was time to mop and things, people would sort of disappear too. So the work was always left to those who were working. So when I got upstairs and I was telling the story to my manager, at first he didn't believe me because, he just thought I was out. And I'm like, look, I don't even smoke. I don't drink. It's, that's the story. So I'll remember that till the day I die. The night I spent the time in the dumpster trying to make the mountain lion go away so I could get back to work. So that's it for this episode. Tune in next time for another story from the Golden Storyteller. Thank you for joining us for another episode. This has been your host, Rex. We always want to welcome you back to the Golden Storyteller. Well, you can participate with us in many ways, whether it's on YouTube, podcast, or live streaming. And of course, if you've enjoyed the shows, please subscribe now. Thanks again, and tune in for the next episode from The Golden Storyteller, or visit our website at thegoldenstoryteller.com. Make it a golden